Let us pray. Our Father God, we ask your blessings upon the people that have been called to lead this community in which we live and we work and we play. We pray a special blessing upon Council-elect Thomas McIntyre as he undergoes his oath of office this afternoon. We further pray that you will guide not only him, but our mayor, our council, as they meet in our city. We also pray that you will look down upon them, God, that they would choose those things which are moral and rational. We pray their motivation in everything that they want to do for the good of our community. We also pray, God, that you would guide them in the spirit of our community, that they'll be led by the spirit of justice and by the spirit of love. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now move on to the reading of the 2022 special municipal election and runoff results. Mark Barber, our city manager, will present.
Thank you, Mayor. The results of our November 8th, 2022 special municipal election for the City of Valdosta Council District 3 has been certified by the Lowndes County Board of Elections, and the results are as follows. India Bell received 302 votes. Maddie L. Blake received 343 votes. Thomas B. McIntyre received 515 votes, and there were 8 write-in votes. Again, that was for the special election in November. Results of the special municipal runoff election held on December 6, 2022 has well been certified by the Lowndes County Board of Elections, and the results are as follows. Maddie L. Blake received 479 votes. Thomas B. McIntyre received 648 votes with no write-in votes. Mayor, those are the certified election results that will go into the minutes.
Mark, thank you. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the 2022 special municipal election and the runoff results.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Now to the oath of office. I'll now call on the Honorable Judge Deidre Powell of the Probate Court to present the oath of office. If Thomas McIntyre, the council-elect, will head down, and if the First Lady, Shante Kamen Robinson, would join them to hold the Bible during the oath of office. Mr. McIntyre, good luck.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
If you would please raise your right hand for me, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Please repeat after me. I, please state your name,
I, Thomas McIntyre,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will well and truly
that I will well and truly
perform the duties
perform the duties
of council member of the City of Valdosta
of council member of the City of Valdosta
to the best of my knowledge,
to the best of my knowledge,
skill, and ability,
skill, and ability,
and as to me
and as to me
shall seem to be the best interest
shall seem to be the best interest
and welfare of the city,
and the welfare of the city,
without fear,
without fear,
favor,
favor,
or affection,
or affection,
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder
of any unaccounted for
of any unaccounted for
public money
public money
to the state of Georgia
to the state of Georgia
or any political subdivision
or any political subdivision
or authority thereto,
or authority thereto,
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder
of any office of trust
of any office of trust
under the government
under the government
of the United States
of the United States
and any other state
and any other state
or any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which I am
which I am,
by the laws of the state of Georgia
by the law of the state of Georgia,
prohibited from holding,
that
I am qualified
to hold the office
which I am about to enter, according to
according to
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of Georgia,
and laws of Georgia,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Georgia,
and the state of Georgia,
that I have been a resident
that I have been a resident
of the city of Valdosta
of the city of Valdosta
for the time required
for the time required
by the Constitution
by the Constitution
and the laws of the state of Georgia
and the laws of the state of Georgia
and the charter
and the charter
of the city of Valdosta.
of the city of Valdosta.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Right here.
We will now move on to item 4, the selection of a new mayor pro tem. Council, I will entertain nominations.
I make a motion to nominate Councilman Eric Howard.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any further nominations? Hearing none, we'll entertain a vote on the current motion on the floor. All in favor of Eric Howard as mayor pro tem? Show of hands. Unanimous. Congratulations. Judge, if you will meet our new mayor pro tem at the front and swear him in as well. If you would like to be joined by your family, Eric, they're more than welcome.
Where's this chewing gum?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you would, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name,
I, Eric Howard,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will well and truly
that I will well and truly
perform the duties
perform the duties
of Mayor Pro Tem
of Mayor Pro Tem
of the city of Valdosta
of the city of Valdosta
to the best of my knowledge,
to the best of my knowledge,
skill, and ability,
skill, and ability,
as to me
shall
seem to be the best interest
seem to be the best interest
and welfare
and welfare
of the city without fear, favor,
favor,
or affection,
or affection,
that I am not the holder
that I am not the holder
of any unaccounted for
of any unaccounted for
public money
due
the state of Georgia
the state of Georgia
or any political subdivision
or any political subdivision
or authority thereto,
that
I am not the holder
holder
of any office
of
of trust
trust
under the government
under the government
of the United States
of the United States
and any other state
and any other state
or any foreign state,
or any foreign state,
which I am by the laws
which I am by the laws
of the state of Georgia
of the state of Georgia
prohibited from holding, that I am qualified to hold the office which I am about to enter,
in which I am about to enter,
according to
according to
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws of Georgia,
and the laws of Georgia,
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Georgia,
and the state of Georgia,
that I have been
a
resident
resident
of the city of Valdosta
of the city of Valdosta
for the time required by the Constitution and the laws of the state of Georgia and the charter of the city of Valdosta. So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
It's in his paper.
You have been relocated.
He's going to miss us.
We'll now move on to item 5. Council, you've had time to review the minutes from the December 8th, 2022 regular meeting. Do you see any additions or deletions? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by acclamation. We'll move on to item 6, public hearings. Consideration of an ordinance to amend Chapter 222, off-street parking standards of the City of Valdosta's Land Development Regulations, our LDR, as it pertains to general parking regulations in residential districts. This is our second reading. Matt Martin, our planning director, will present. Hi, Matt.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. As you say, this is Chapter 222 of the Land Development Regulations of the City, but more specifically, Sections 222-11 and 222-12, which have to do with parking regulations in residential districts as a whole, as well as the residential parking overlay district. We discussed this thoroughly at the first reading hearings back in December, and again at the work session on Tuesday evening. In your packet is 2 versions of the amendments, one shown in an underlined strikeout format, which shows the current language and then the changes proposed to that language, and the other version in your packet is what the final result of the changes would be. The topic of this was discussed at last year's City Council retreat. Staff put together some proposed amendments, and we've run it through the public hearing process with the Planning Commission. They reviewed this at their public hearing on November the 28th, and they are recommending approval of the amendments as presented unanimously. At the work session, there was a handout of a slight revision to the final language of it. That was based on discussion we had in December with the city attorney, where we simply relocated one sentence from the top to the bottom of the page. No changes to the wording, just the relocation of that sentence that was in the handout as a revised ordinance that was given to you Tuesday evening. Be glad to happy to answer any questions you may have on these changes.
Council, any questions for Matt on this item?
I have just this one question I'm just going to ask. I was trying to see the time frame. Did we change that to how many before we would know before this become effective?
In your packet is the default, unless we change to a different effective date. The default is for an ordinance to become effective immediately, but as with any ordinance adopted by City Council, you have full discretion to place an effective date in some point in the future. We have done that multiple times in the past, depending on what the ordinance was. For example, the LDR itself, adopted in December of 2008, its effective date was not until January 1st of 2009. When we did the overlay district, that came as part of the LDR, overlay district for residential parking. The city, not through ordinance, but through policy, took several months to implement that change because it was a different change for that part of the city where the city marshals issued warnings to people before they got into actual enforcement. So that's an option as well. I know at the meetings, particularly the first reading in December, we talked about having a delayed effective date. All we would need to do, I believe, is have an actual specific date for the effectiveness, which could be 1, 2, 3, 6, however many months or weeks we want to do.
So we need to do that now?
I would think the easiest way is to make that part of a motion to approve with an effective date of blank.
Will we make this, and Councilwoman Tully, will we make this an effective date on down the road so we can do some advertisement for folks to know that this is a change?
Just what I was saying, yeah.
Okay.
So what I was just saying is, should we make that part of it now to be through with it? We want to.
Right. An effective date, if council instructs staff to do an advertisement to notify people, the format in which we advertise would be important, whether it's newspaper, letters, or city marshals starting their review of these properties, notifying possible concerns, which is what we did with the residential parking overlay district when we first implemented it.
Mark, how long would it take us to get something together to notify folks, to let them know of this change?
You know, again, with something like this, that's citywide, we definitely want to have enough time to educate the citizens and inform them of what those changes would be. So my suggestion would be not to enforce that, even to give a warning for 6 months. I would like that. I think that'll give all of our city departments time to get together, to market to the community, have the meetings we need to have with the community in a 6-month period.
And for our city marshals to learn the change and understand the change and all that.
Yes, Councilman.
So our motion would need to be, if it's passed by council, it will go into effect 6 months from today.
July 1?
Correct. And just the warning period, I would add that too, if we could, city attorney. We wouldn't start the actual citation. We would start issuing warnings after that 6-month period, just to extend that a little bit longer for the citizens.
So all of that needs to be in the motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be one warning?
Yeah. Or is it too far?
Yeah, that may be a little too far. I would just say if you want an extra month of warnings, just extend the effective date for an extra month, because then you would be contradictory to your ordinance, because your ordinance does say you'd be getting to the discretion of the
So August 1.
Yep, just add another
With
month.
warnings to begin July 1.
July 1? Okay.
The warnings would begin.
Yeah, but
Of an upcoming ordinance effectiveness, and that would be maybe the language put in the warning.
Pick your date, and we'll start on that date after the education process. How about that? Just pick your date.
July 1. Everybody good? July 1?
So, again, this is a public hearing item. Any other questions for Matt or for our city attorney? None? All right. Again, this is a public hearing item. So is there anybody in the audience that wishes to come forward and speak in favor of this request? Seeing none, is there anybody that would like to come speak in opposition? Seeing none again, I'll turn it over to council for action.
Mayor, I make a motion that we amend the ordinance, Chapter 222, off-street parking standards for the city of LDR with an effective date of July 1 of 2023.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Council, all in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Fantastic. We are making improvements. Well done. We'll move on. Item 6B, consideration of a request to close an unopened alley located on West Street between J.L. Lomax and River Street that no doubt our city engineer will present. How you doing, Ben?
Doing well. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, a brief overview and summary of this. This is prompted, it was brought to our attention by Randall Godfrey. It was prompted by a request to combine two parcels. There is a portion of an unopened, what we refer to as a paper alley between those two parcels. In order to clarify the ownership of the parcels in question, we encourage the applicant to move forward with the closure of the unopened alley. The city properly advertised for the public hearing and advertised the closure of the alley to all of the relevant city departments and utility providers. There was no issues with the closure. There was no comments from the providers or from any of the city departments. And so staff is recommending the closure request to be approved. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
Council, any questions for Ben?
I have one. Ben, does Mr. Godfrey own both sides of the road, or both sides of the alley?
I believe so, yeah.
The alleys, who owns the alleys? Is it the...
So when we refer to the alley as a paper alley, this is fairly common. Sometimes these alleys appear in early or antiquated documentation, paper documentation that depicts an alley on paper, but in actuality the alleys are never cleared of trees, they're never utilized in order to access the properties in question, and so that the alley is a public alley. And so this closure is required to come before council for review and approval because it is a public alley.
So the city owns the alley?
Yes, sir.
And so in this instance, the city would belong to Mr. Godfrey? Be just turned over?
So in this instance, the portion of the alley requested to be closed would be split evenly between the two adjacent property owners that would be affected by its closure, which in this case is Mr. Godfrey.
Okay.
And this would clarify the two parcels and allow for a clean combination of the two parcels.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Council? Ben, hold on. It's a public hearing item again, so thank you. Anybody that would like to speak in favor of this request, please come forward. Seeing none, if there's anybody that would like to speak in opposition of this request, please come forward. Again, seeing none, it's yours for action, Council.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve this request as presented.
Second.
A motion and lots of seconds. All in favor, show of hands. Council, thank you. We'll move on to item 7, local funding and requests. Item A, consideration of a request for payment to the U.S. Geological Survey for a monitoring station in the Withlacoochee River as agreed to in the Georgia Environmental Protection Division consent order. Bradley Ayer, our Director of Utilities, to present.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, this is an agenda item for consideration of request for what is a contract approval, actually, for the U.S. Geological Survey for a water monitoring station at the Withlacoochee River as agreed to in the Georgia Environmental Protection Division consent order, EPD WP 8904. A little history on August 11, 2020, the city signed and agreed to comply to all the conditions of the consent order. This consent order was issued as a result of a major spill we reported on December of 2019 at the city's Reamer lift station. Per Section 13 of the above mentioned consent order, and within 180 days of its execution, the city was to establish a permanent water quality monitoring station on the Withlacoochee River at U.S. Highway 84, downstream of the outfall of the Withlacoochee plant discharge. This monitoring station was established and operational within the time frame required. In addition to consent order, the monitoring station operation began May 1 of 2020 and will continue at a cost to the city until April 1, 2025. The city's cost for the operation of this station is in the sum of $170,150 to USGS. We recommend authorization to pay the cost of this operation of the station in the amount of $170,150. The approval is required for us to maintain compliance with the consent order. So we recommend that we go ahead and approve that. Any questions?
Council, any questions for Brad?
Is that sum of $170,150, is that the total over the?
It is the total over that whole period, not to exceed that amount, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Correct.
Council, any further questions? Okay. Brad, hold on.
Okay.
Here's for action, Council.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we approve the payment to the United States Geological Survey in the amount $170,150 as requested.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Move on to item B, consideration of a request for replacement of packing material in scrubbers 1, 2, and 3 at our Guest Road water treatment plant. Bradley?
Yes, and this agenda item is the consideration of request for the replacement of the packing material in scrubbers 1, 2, and 3, as you mentioned. The current packing was installed in 2007 and has a normal operational lifespan of 15 years. Scrubbers 1, 2, and 3 are used in the process of drinking water treatment. The wear and tear and age of the packing material adversely affects the efficiency of the scrubbers and causes more sulfides to be released in the air, which causes additional smell. If you notice in your packet and on the screen there that this is part of that degasification system in our high-quality water treatment system. And there are pictures you can see of the material that we are replacing. Next slide down is some of the new material that we will be replacing for the scrubber. It's these round balls here are some of the older material that just has some age, just to show you what some of the age is on that material when it gets older. The packing material replacement is part of the normal maintenance and proper maintenance and maintaining the process of the plant. The agenda item is submitted to authorize payment to Indusco Environmental Services in the amount of $87,825 to purchase and install the full complement of the scrubber packing. This also includes the removal and the disposal of existing packing, cleaning of scrubber vessels, and general system performance inspection. We recommend authorization to be approved for this sole source purchase of the packing material in the amount of $87,825. And I may take any questions if you have any.
Council, any questions for Brett?
Sir, not to disregard what your great presentation, but could you verbally say that again, that this machine is the process to make our water better drinkable for the citizens to really understand this, hearing it from you saying that?
Yes, I mean, it's part of we have a very sophisticated process, and these are part of a degasification system. We add chemicals and remove chemicals, and there's things that happen that we have to, when we remove sulfides and the impurities of the water, that this system produces gases because it's sulfide gases, and that packing material is part of that process, and over time it becomes brittle, and it helps keep that process efficient.
Thank you.
So,
any further questions for Bradley? Council, it's yours for action.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve this as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor, show of hands. Council, thank you. Bradley, thank you. Item C, consideration of a request for payment of emergency sewer repairs on Bay Tree Road. You again.
Yes, this is a consideration request for payment for the emergency sewer repairs on Bay Tree Road. On the week of July 11, 2022, the City Utilities Department personnel responded to a report of sewage overflowing from a sanitary manhole in the roadway on Bay Tree Road at the intersection of Spring Hill Drive. Following an investigation, the city crews installed a temporary bypass pump to transfer the sewage flowing into this manhole to the next downstream manhole due to the blockage. A subsequent video inspection and evaluation revealed a sewer pipe liner failure, which was causing obstruction and then subsequent buildup in that line and hindering the proper flow. After receiving a proposal for the work, the city selected James Warren Associate to begin making the repairs. The existing sewer liner required installing and maintaining a bypass pump operation, securing a liner boring removal company to extract the old liner. A new liner was installed in this section of sewer main and removal of the old liner. A new sanitary manhole was installed immediately south on Bay Tree Road at the location of an older 3-foot diameter brick manhole, which is substandard to access and maintenance. It was also leaking when flows were heavy. In addition, a drop connection invert repair was required at the existing manhole on Bay Tree Road. The existing connection was discovered to be cracked and in a state of collapse during the final video inspection, and the initial anticipated repairs were completed. JWA completed all the repairs December 9th, 2022, and submitted invoices for the work in the amount of $159,300 and $15,200 for a total of $174,500. We recommend authorization of payment in the amount of $174,500 to JWA for this emergency repair. And I'll take any questions.
Council, any questions for Bradley? Bradley, thank you. Council, it's yours for action.
Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the payment to JWA.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor, show of hands. Unanimous. Council, thank you. Item D, consideration of a request for payment to CDM Smith Engineers for Phase 1 of the new water treatment plant number 2. A very exciting project.
Yes, and this is a consideration request for payment to CDM Smith Engineers for the Phase 1 of this new water treatment plant project. On October 26, 2022, the City Utilities Department, with the assistance of CDM, submitted a Georgia American Rescue Plan Act grant application for the design and construction of a new water treatment plant to be located on the south side of the city. On February 22nd, 2022, the City Utilities Department received a notification from the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget that we had a preliminary grant award in the amount of $12,075,000 pending approval of a final budget. On December 22nd, 2022, we received notification that our final budget was approved by OPB. Since such time as the Utilities Department had been notified of the preliminary grant award, the Utilities Department began the progress of preliminary planning and activities to begin site acquisition and plan design processes. The city was approved for a grant award, the amount of $12,075,000, along with the city's matching funds of $4,025,000, which is 25%. The combined funds budgeted for the new water treatment plant number 2 totaled $16,100,000. CDM Smith Engineering, who was selected by the Utilities Department in 2017 to conduct a future water study, and then subsequently assisted the city in submitting for the ARPA grant award, was selected as the engineering consultant to design and provide oversight for the new water treatment plant number 2. At the Utilities Department request, CDM Smith Engineers has provided a cost proposal for this new water treatment plant number 2, Phase 1, in the amount of $175,302, and this is for the test well operation and installation and to check our water quality at the proposed site, and sub-consultant fees to Grosh Drilling Company for installation of the test well. at a cost of $93,880 for a total of $269,182 for Phase 1. We recommend the authorization for the not-to-exceed invoice payments in the amount of $269,182 to CDM for this phase of the project. And I'll take any questions you might have.
Council, any questions for Bradley?
Do you mind telling everyone where this second water treatment plant is going to be located?
We have sites selected, shortlisted on the south side of town, the area general to the airport, and we're in negotiations with a couple of those sites. So that's a general answer to that question.
Okay.
Would we start with 12 sites?
We had a number, about 12, yes. Yeah, we shortlisted about 3.
Any further questions for Bradley? Bradley, thank you. Council, it's yours for action.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the request as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor, show of hands. Again, an exciting project, unanimous. Thank you. Move on to item E, consideration for request to purchase 2 vacant parcels of land located at 400 South Patterson Street and 406 South Patterson Street. Our city manager, Mark Barber, to present.
Thank you, Mayor. Really excited about this agenda item this evening. As you recall, last year at our strategic summit, you gave me authorization to start looking at properties under the overpass on South Patterson Street to try to start purchasing some of those properties in an effort for revitalization. It's been a long process, but we finally have worked out a deal with the owner of 2 parcels that are down under the overpass. 2 meetings ago, you gave me authority not to exceed $13,500. The property owners have agreed to that, so I'm asking tonight to approve the purchase of 400 South Patterson Street and 406 South Patterson Street for $13,500.
Council, any questions for the city manager? None? Council, it's yours for action.
Mayor, I make a motion to purchase the 2 vacant parcels.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, show of hands. Unanimous? Go get them.
Will be done.
Move on to item F. Item F is the consideration of a request to select a consultant to assist in recruitment and selection of a new city manager for the city of Valdosta. 2 weeks ago, our city manager handed in his retirement to mayor and council. We laughed and shed a tear and thanked him many times over. His effective date, we believe to be February 1st. Council, I will turn it over to you for action.
Mr. Mayor, to properly go through the process for selecting this firm, I would like to make a motion that we get the city manager or his designee to engage with all 3 of the firms that have been presented to us to provide us a written quote on how much they would charge for this service. Once we have those quotes back, we then can make the selection complete.
Fantastic. I have a motion before us.
Second. We're tabling.
Is the motion to table?
Table with those instructions. Motion to table with those instructions.
Correct.
Are we going to put a time frame on hearing back from
Should
them?
be done before our next meeting.
I mean, I just don't want it to be 30 days down the road or something.
It should be done by the next meeting. If not before then, but we can process at our next meeting.
Okay.
Motion to table and instructions to seek written quotes.
Second.
And what they offer as well, correct?
We'll tell them that, yeah.
Okay.
They have to meet our specs.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor, show of hands.
Who are making the motion to?
Who motion?
One more time, what's the motion?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, motion is to table
Table.
and then to approach all 3 for written quotes.
Thank you.
And we should have them by the next meeting.
Do we have a second?
Yep, we have a second. And unanimous. Move on to item G. Consideration of a request for the selection of an interim city manager for the city of Valdosta for the same reasons. Council, it's yours for action.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we name Richard Hardy our interim city manager until we locate or decide on a new city manager.
Second.
Do you have an effective date for that?
Effective
On the same date?
February 1st.
February 1st.
So I'd like to amend my motion. I'd like to make a motion that we name Richard Hardy our interim city manager effective February 1st until we name city manager.
Have a motion before us?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further comments? All in favor, show of hands. Again, unanimous. You're not allowed to vote on that one. Discount his. Richard Hardy, congratulations.
I think Richard's sitting there going, what the heck did I just get myself into?
I don't know. It might be a palace.
We will now move on to item 8, citizens to be heard. It's the portion of the meeting that we ask you to come forward, state your name and address so we have it for the record. Our policy requires that you stay under 3 minutes so that others have time to be heard. Please direct all comments to council as a whole and do not attempt to engage individual members of council in debate. It's our policy to follow through with you on your concern almost immediately. In addition, we ask that any groups that want to address the council designate one spokesman for that same reason. Again, this will ensure that others have time to be heard. Having said that, are there any citizens wishing to be heard at this time? Please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm John Robinson of 3227 St. Louis Circle Lake Park. I want to commend everyone and congratulate everyone that took office today. Today is a historic day for the city of Valdosta for 162 years. This is the first time the city has ever had someone appointed as a black city manager, and it is historic today. And I would say give him at least the opportunity, give him the chance that he deserves. I believe you selected the right person, a man that I believe is fair, someone that give us a change in mind. This is the beginning of a new start. It's time that we recognize that this city needs to move forward in unity and in one accord. This is a great move tonight. This is a historic move tonight in my book. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Are there any other citizens wishing to be heard at this time?
Council, good evening.
How you doing?
My name's Chris Harvey. I'm from Macon, Georgia. I'm with Mercer University's medical school, and a student and me are both down here. His name's Andrew Inslee. We're here on a population health rotation, looking to identify some issues in some of the more rural areas of Georgia. And we're currently doing a project where over the next 4 years throughout our medical school careers, we'll be coming back to this same community, implementing a project based on disparities that we identify, kind of re-engineering, and then finally our 4th year just implementing what we think is a well-oiled machine to identify some of that. So part of this first part of the project is to interview some stakeholders within the community. And I just wanted to put it out there that if any of you, council members, or anyone that's a citizen of Valdosta would like to talk to us, we'll be sitting here and we can maybe set something up over the next 2 weeks, just only like 30 minutes, but I just want to throw that out there, and congratulations to everyone, by the way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, thank you for your efforts as well.
Yes, sir, of course. Thank you.
Any other citizens wishing to be heard? Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Cassandra Washington. I'm sole proprietor of the Hairworks Beauty Salon located at 2131 Bemis Road, Valdosta, Georgia, 31602. I have the distinct position of being a licensed shop owner in the same plaza for over 30 years. Now that's quite unique. Over the years, being a small and minority business owner, I've endured many challenges. Small businesses, many of you know, survive on 1 week revenue at a time. When COVID hit the nation, in our area in particular, it devastated us. And with no immediate relief, we did the things necessary to stay afloat. September of 2022, the City of Valdosta gave small businesses an opportunity to apply for the ARPA Small Business Grant. I applied early because I fit into that small priority group stating first preference. I checked every requirement, and I even called the finance office on the things I wasn't sure of. That's like the E-Verify. They stated that because I was less than 10, people, it wasn't necessary for me. I was told that I did not need that number, the E-Verify number, because I had less employees. After my submission, I waited for a response by phone, mail, and email for this much-needed approval. After I heard that the first distributions were given out, I called the finance office again and was told that if I did not qualify, I would have gotten a letter of denial, which I never did. I spoke about this matter to another small business owner, and they suggested I check my spam mail, okay? And there it was. It was in my spam mail. Some kind of way it generated itself into that bin, okay? That's not something I generally check. The deadline was over, and the small business owner of over 30 years was not granted me. I'm here today to suggest an even greater transparency when grants or other funds become available to the greater community, including small businesses in particular. I suggest follow-up calls be made to qualifying business owners to assure that the funds are distributed to the ones that need it most. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are there any other citizens wishing to be heard at this time?
Good evening. My name is Alvin Baldwin. I have a home on 701 Johnson Street. I've been going through 701 Johnson Street.
Thank you.
I've been going through the mill of trying to determine who owns the canal in the city of Valdosta. Because it floods to the point where, like yesterday, it flooded all the way underneath the house. And me and my wife, we are investing a lot of money in redoing this house in the historical district. And we was told yesterday it's our responsibility to build a wall, a retaining wall, to fight the water from going underneath the underneath. So my next question is, how can the city help us build a retaining wall to help us from not losing our home over a period of time and keep investing money for the water that comes under and it stays for a while? Every time it rains like crazy, we have to fight that water. So it's going to make it kind of difficult in the long run when we do decide if we rent the house or sell it. Somebody's going to have a problem. Parking is going to be crazy because it floods all the way, because I own a lot on the next side of the house. It's all the way over there, and that's not good. And it's a street over. If you go to the Boys and Girls Club, it floods the whole parking lot on the Oak Street side. So I'm just wondering who can help us with that problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baldwin. Any other citizens wishing to be heard at this time? Seeing none, we'll close out that portion of the evening and turn it over to City Manager for the City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I really don't have a formal report this evening. We're kind of getting back from our Christmas break and taking a little siesta before we start with all of our events for this year, and there are plenty of those to go around. I do want to congratulate Councilman McIntyre and Councilman Howard for their appointments tonight. It's very exciting. Mayor Pro Tem Howard, I'm going to have to get used to that. And of course, I cannot agree any more with John Robinson than to congratulate my good friend Richard Hardy for being named interim city manager. It's the right choice.
We'll move on now to council comments. Council, any parting shots?
Basically, just congratulations on your election and winning the election and everything, and glad to have you up here with us and joining us. And Councilman Howard, same thing as you. Congratulations on your new position. And Richard Hardy, congratulations as well. And that's it.
Did you work any harder?
He works hardy.
I just want to make a comment as well. I was just going to say, I do want to congratulate all of the new people in their positions. Congratulations and welcome. And also, I would like to say, because I've just been watching a lot of the activities going around in the city with our, I guess our employees, a lot of them have been working, doing a lot of things. I love the way they did the Unity Park. I saw people just constantly working, and they seem to be happy doing things like that. Our employees, I say thank you for the way y'all put the decoration up. Thank you for the way you took it down. And I have gotten some comments on our city, the way the city looks. Thank you to, I guess it's Public Works as well as Utilities for the way that they've done, in keeping the city, and for people coming in and noticing, saying something about the way our city looks. I want to say thank you to the employees for doing that. And also, I just want to say I've also had a lot of questions, too, about the small business loan, and I'm glad someone did mention that. Did we not put it up, or did Public put it on our website or anything, a list about it, or when it was, that it had been, that they'd already completed it or done anything like that? I'm still getting calls about it. People want to know when we're going to distribute it or anything like that. Was it made publicly known that it had been distributed?
Yeah, we had it on our website, Councilwoman, that we were, the period had ended, number one, and that the check distribution was taking place. Now, it did take place in phases because there were some documents like a W-9 that the finance folks have to cut a check that we didn't have. So it was cut in phases. They weren't all cut at one time. I'm not sure if they've all been done. Chuck, can you answer that for us? Yes. That they've all the checks that you guys approved have been distributed.
Okay. And one other thing, too, it was a question about this. Is there any kind of way we could, a lot of people were asking their names, they said they never got any, we're informed anyway. I heard that about spam. That's something else I will start bringing up. If somebody mentioned them, actually they look at their spam, because I didn't think to tell them that as well. Yeah, but was it anything like, I know the number, the 3512 number, I tell everybody to call with that. I know it by heart, and I try to tell them that. But is it anyway, like a lot of people
That's all I have to say.
It was very unfortunate what we heard tonight, but I do, and I think most council have been very proud of that effort, and the citizens that we've all heard from are very appreciative. That was a much needed relief, and again, we'll be shoring that out further. Good call. All right, there's no more council comments. I will entertain a motion to.
I just want to say to you, Councilman McIntyre, you were sitting in the owner's seat, and we're so honored to have you here with us. And all the council know how I felt about Councilman Vickers. So again, I say thank you for filling that seat, and I believe the seat is anointed, so you're going to be super. And to our Mayor Pro Tem, congratulations, and to our new city manager, interim, thank you so much.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Mayor, Council.
Pretty celebrated. Say again. It's pretty celebrated.
Yes, yes.
It's not done with you.
out there.